Voracious. And we're not even anywhere near where we need to be. Just wait till next week, Revelation 9.
Next week?
Or the week after that. Just wait till we get to Revelation 9. The second river in Voracious, if you look please, at verse 13. So the first river is pride, symbolized by gold and shoham. The same stones that Satan wore, that he wants you to wear when he was thrown out. He wants to put them on you. Amen? He got lifted up with his own beauty. What caused Satan to fall from heaven? He got lifted up with his own beauty, and he wants to take those same stones and stick them on you and have you spend the rest of your life chasing those stones.
Right.
Yeah.
How many know what I'm talking about? And let's be honest, Judah and Ephraim are chasing stones, but they're not chasing the cornerstone, the Rosh Pinah. They're chasing a Rosh, a head, the Rosh of Pishan. Look at verse 13. The name of the second river is Gihon. It surrounds the entire land of Cush. Cush is Ethiopia, also synonymous or analogous with Africa. You know the continent that's famous historically for the most wars in the human race? Even today, Africa. Wars, rumors of wars, you know, of course, around the world, but especially in Africa. Or Cush can also be Ethiopia or Africa. So Gihon, listen, is the spirit of ungodly or unset apart warfare. Murder. Killing. Is it just the TVs that we're watching, or is it really happening? Are there more abductions and murders of little children and rape and incest nowadays than there ever were before?
Yes.
Yes, there are.
Yes, they are.
It's a spirit of murder. It's a spirit of vexation. And it's a spirit that started in Eden. It killed Adam and Eve. And then Satan took that Nahal, that river, and tried to meander it into Gihon. So the four rivers coming from Eden are the four spirits Satan uses to conquer the world. How many horsemen of the apocalypse are there?
4.
And the spirits have been bound under the Euphrates because Yahweh's chesed, his love. If he allows Satan to run rampant, you and I wouldn't be here today. We'd all be 6 feet under. But in the Great Tribulation, Yahweh releases these four rivers. Are you with me? He releases these four rivers, and that's why we need protection in the wilderness.
Amen. Yes.
Because those four rivers won't touch us in the wilderness.
That's right. Amen.
They will touch us in the city. They will touch us in our church. They will touch us in, but those who are the testimony of Yeshua and keep his Torah. This is not just a service. This is not just Hebrew liturgy. This is not just Jewish legalism.
No.
This is your life. This is your protection in the wilderness in the day when Yahweh unleashes the four spirits that are bound under the river Euphrates.
Ready.
Raise up my mouth, you said.
I'm going.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Are we on?
Yes.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Yeah.
Gihon is the spirit of death, the spirit of war, the spirit of destruction. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. We know Yeshua said in Yochanan 10:10, the thief cometh not, amen, but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Gihon. S-A-10 is the spirit of Gihon. He cometh not, but to steal, kill, and destroy. Look at verse 14. And what did Satan do? What did Satan do in heaven? He killed 1/3 of the Malachim, did he not? He killed his old anointing, did he not? He destroyed his own place of favor, did he not? He destroyed his own role as the Mashiach of heaven, did he not?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And he will destroy you if you allow him to. If you don't have the resurrection testimony of Yeshua and keep and guard. Turn to your neighbor and say guard.
Guard.
Guard. The mitzvot of Yahweh, you can be taken prey even in the wilderness because the remnant seed will be protected in the wilderness.
Right.
Yes.
It will be deceived.
From Pishan, a land and a mentality of gold, a head easily shaken by the principality of gold. Mammon. Cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. You will love one and hate the other, or you will despise one and cling to the other. You cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. Mammon was a pagan Canaanite idol of gold. Gihon, death, war, killing. We don't have to talk about that. What did Yeshua say is going to happen? What's going to characterize the Great Tribulation? wars. Rumors of wars.
Wars. Yeah.
Why? It is symbolized by the continent of Africa, the killing, the tribal warfare, the chieftain warfare, the inter-family destruction that goes on even among families in Kush, in Ethiopia. Because they're drinking and they're being overcome by the river of Gihon.
But still held back.
But that river that is flowed through Kush and Gihon is coming to the entire planet, to the entire globe, to the entire world. And in the Great Tribulation, Yahweh will take it. He's bound it somewhat to protect his beloved Israel. But he will unleash that river. And then what are you going to do? The righteous are scarcely saved. What shall be the end of the unrighteous and those who do not believe the good news? Amen. The name of the second river is Gihon. It surrounds the entire land of Cush. How many people in the world today, if they're not in the land of gold, they're in the land of death? But Israel is different. Turn to your neighbor and say, Israel is different. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we fear no evil. Because Yahweh's rod and his staff, they comfort us. And he prepared a table before the presence of our enemies. For goodness and mercy, chesed, shall follow me all the days of my life. And you and I will dwell in the house of Yahweh forever. The spirit of Gihon, the river of Gihon, is being unleashed even today. It's going from Africa to this continent, to the continent of Europe, to the continent of North America. But in the Great Tribulation, that river is going to flow to all four corners. Because where is Israel? In all four corners. So what is Yahweh's plan for Israel in the last days? To take us, the redeemed, remnant seed of the woman, whom the dragon is chasing down in the four corners of the world, out of the four corners and into the wilderness. Because that was our glory days. Those were our happy days. Happy days will be here again. Happy days. Where were our happy days as a nation, as a family, as the people of Yahweh? Where were our happy days? In the wilderness, when we got married, when we were under the chuppah of Yahweh, when Yahweh saw us and called us Yeshurun, righteous remnant Israel, that is all together, no stiff neck, no hard heart, no rebellion. Yeshurun was in the wilderness. We are returning to the site of our greatest glory.
Yes, amen.
And there he'll plead with us as we pass under the rod of correction. Hallelujah. We're in the four corners now. But Yahweh's going to unleash those four spirits that are of Satan. They're not of him. But Yahweh has held them back because of his love for you and me. He's going to release Gishon in a greater manner. Pishon, gold and death, the pride and death in a greater manner till it overtakes the world. You better be found in the wilderness. How do you get to the wilderness? The trick is not to get to heaven. The trick is to get into the wilderness.
Yeshua and Torah.
You're not going to find the Baptist church in the wilderness, Linda. You're not going to find the Methodist church in the wilderness, Linda, because they're all living in the land of gold.
Yes, amen.
Drinking from the waters of Pishon.
They're swimming.
I can think of an English word that matches, but I'm too educated to say it.
I'm glad you came out of there.
What about DBA?
Are we going?
Yes, we're going. We're going.
You got to be Israel to survive the land of gold and the land of Pishon and the waters of Pishon and of Gihon. But the only way to get to the wilderness is to become Israel. How do we become Israel? Get out of that church system. Get out of that antinomian system. Get out of those bunch of fables and lies and open the ark of the Torah and say, I am now no longer going to speak against his eternal commands and see them as a Jewish thing. They are his thing. They're my thing. They're eternal thing. And I will guard them all the days of my life. So help me, Yahweh. I will guard them all the days of my life. For they are my life. For it is written, if a man does them, he will live by them. Life in the Torah? Yeah. If a man does them, you'll inherit life. Yeshua is the living Torah. When you accepted Yeshua, you accepted his Torah. Now don't tell me you want his carcass and not his teachings. He is the living Torah. Same thing that we have there, the living Torah. So to say that he's been nailed to the tree means he never got off the tree.
Yes.
But both the Torah and the Son of Yahweh both got off the tree because they were ever on the tree. Are you with me? Yeshua was on the tree, but he rose from the dead. The Torah was never nailed to the tree because after 3 days, the Torah rose from the dead saying it's living. I told you it was always living. It was never nailed anywhere. You need a ticket. Now, you and I need a ticket to the wilderness. But we got to get out of the land of gold. We got to get out of the land of pride.
Show how. Show how.
This is the bug ring.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Go back, please, to Bereshit. Bereshit. That's the introduction to this afternoon's message. Now you know why we're putting in air conditioning next week.
Of course.
So I can keep you till 7. Tell your neighbor, say he's going to keep you till 7. And if I catch you drinking from the rivers of Pishon and Gihon, I might keep you bound under Euphrates.
Oh. Hallelujah. Oh. I'm glad I don't
Just
work
kidding.
today.
Bereshit.
Do it. Do it.
Bereshit 2:14. I got to get through the 4 rivers today, and we'll get into Revelation in the future. Bereshit 2:14. The name of the third river is Chedekel, or Tigris. The one that goes toward the east of Ashur. Fourth is the Euphrates. The river Chedekel, listen to this, is interesting in that it flowed through Assyria and the land east of Assyria. Are you with me? And notice Assyria had a capital by the name of Nineveh. Ephraim, that's where you used to live? The river Hiddekel, or Tigris, goes through Nineveh, the capital of what would later become what? Assyria. Ephraim's captivity didn't just occur in Assyria, in Nineveh, but in the outskirts of Nineveh, east of Nineveh and east of Assyria. Did it not? Did it not? Now it's interesting, now listen to this. It's interesting that the word Chedekel comes, listen to this, from the Strong's word 2313, literally means, are you ready for this? Disunity and division. Strong's 2313, disunity and division. What nation was divided when they were taken into Assyria and east of Assyria? The 10 tribes, or non-Jewish Israel, today known mostly as Muslims and Christians or whatever, they wear every hat. Non-Jewish believers in this room, your forefathers were taken away from the house of David when your forefather Jeroboam rebelled against the house of David, and you were divided from your brothers in Judah. Are you with me? Yes. That is the third river as the Tigris, which also not only means division, it means rapid, active division, designed to cut things off that are not like itself.
Wow.
The word Tigris, or Chedekel, in Hebrew, means a division that is rapid, that cuts things off that are not of themselves. Who was it that was cut off from the house of David? The house of Ephraim, the 10 tribes of Israel. Non-Jewish believers. Do we have any Ephraimites here?
Yes.
This was a river that your forefathers drank from. Are you with me? And you got to be united in the last days with Judah and get into the wilderness where there's protection. Because your Ephraimite brothers in the church system now and in other systems, they will be even further divided and further division than they are divided and divided today. Yeah. As Ted said, it's a spirit of denominationalism. Yeah. It's a spirit of division that doesn't allow people who look different, act different, or may think different into our midst. Yeah. Are you with me?
Yes.
Ephraim has drank of this river, the river of Tigris, Hiddekel, because that is a river that divided the descendants of Adam and Eve and ultimately took them east into the land of Assyria, and from the land of Assyria to the four corners of the world. And Satan knows where Israel is today. That they're in the four corners of the world, and he's going to send the flood after you. So you better become Israel now while there's a chance, and walk in the day while it is still yet time to be called children of the day. Forsake the ways of men and return to the ancient paths. For the ancient paths are eternal paths. Amen, somebody. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I said Baruch Hashem Yahweh. It is the river Tigris that took your fathers away. Like a tiger, like a roaring lion, like a tiger. Took your forefathers away east of Assyria to Assyria. Separate from the house of David. But by the blood of Messiah, he's taken the victims of the Tigris River and bringing it back. You were overtaken in the flood of the Tigris. If you weren't succumbed to the land and the river of gold, then our forefathers succumbed to the spirit of what? Pishon, gold, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Gihon, war, Tigris, Hiddekel, the spirit of division, spirit of disunity. My. From the Hebrew word, Hiddekel. Hiddekel. Now I want you to see something interesting. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Look at verse 11. Verse 14. Hiddekel goes forth not just toward Assyria, but east of Assyria. What happened to the children of Israel? They went into captivity and they went past Assyria, east into Asia. People say, how do we have the Israelites in India and in China? Because the river Tigris took them away past Assyria. Are you with me? That's how the Israelites wound up in Asia. It went east of Assyria. And then that same river Tigris meandered back west and took them to Europe and to North America. That's why the Israelites in all four corners. You know why Yahweh bound these four rivers? To preserve his people. If he hadn't bound these four rivers, what would have happened to you and me is what happened to Adam and Eve. They died spiritually. Are you with me? Not just physically, they died spiritually. Did they not? Yes. Yahweh no longer walked with them in the cool of the day. You wouldn't be born again. You wouldn't know Yahweh. You wouldn't be a child of Israel. You wouldn't love his word right now if he had let those four rivers flow unabated. But he's bound them right where they started, at the Garden of Eden. But in the Great Tribulation, he's going to loose them on the world while you're protected from these four rivers. Hallelujah. Now that's chesed. Yes. That's grace. Yes. The whole world will be overtaken by these four rivers that are bound in the river Euphrates. Revelation 9:14. But you and I will be protected in the wilderness. So the river Tigris, Hiddekel, is the river of disunity. Does that sound like Satan to you? Exactly. Gold, murder, division. Sound like Satan to you? Yes. Gold. Now, you know, we're so quick. Can we talk? Can we talk? Yes. We're so quick to blame Adam and Eve. They were up against four rivers, honey. Gold, death, and division. I would like to see you stand without the armor of Yahweh against the rivers of gold, death, and division. Without the armor of Yahweh, you can't do that. These are the four spirits that are going to be released to the church waiting for the rapture. You know why? Because they don't have the Torah of Yahweh. They don't have the commands of Yahweh.
Big surprise.
So you can't get into the wilderness unless you guard the commands of Yahweh and love the resurrection of his Son. Are you with me?
Yes.
So the same rivers that overtook our forefathers are about to overtake them again unless they come into this remnant message. It is the message of the kingdom. The gospel is not Yeshua died on the tree and rose from the dead. That's not the gospel. Those are the facts of the gospel.
That's right.
The gospel is as a result of him rising from the dead. Who are you now? We're part of the restored, corporate, reborn nation of Israel. He said, the gospel of the kingdom.
Come and be restored.
What kingdom? The restored kingdom of Israel to David. That belonged to our father David.
Amen.
It is the good news of the kingdom. It's not Yeshua dying on the tree, rising from the dead. That's how you get into the kingdom, but that's not the kingdom. That's the method into the kingdom, but that's not the kingdom. He died and rose from the dead to bring in the kingdom. His death, burial, and resurrection is not the kingdom. It is the avenue, the means, and the venue with which you enter the kingdom, somebody. So what kingdom? Israel restored? Israel reborn? All the disciples were trained. How many believe the 12 Talmidim were trained by Yeshua? Let's try that again. How many believe the 12 Talmidim were trained by Yeshua? And the last question they had after he ascended to heaven, he said, Yeshua, Maaseh Shlichim chapter 1, what do you want? There's one final thing, Master. Will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? Now those 11 couldn't agree on anything. Yehuda had already fell from transgression. They couldn't agree, they fought, they quarreled, they had spats. And yet with one mind, one accord, they all came to him. Master, it's nice that you're ascending and going back to the Father. You forgot something. 2 houses, hello. The kingdom of Israel has not been reborn, restored. He says, it's not for you to know the times and the seasons. He says, I won't tell you when the 2 houses will come together. I won't tell you when the kingdom will be restored to Israel. But I'll tell you how. Go to Jerusalem. Go to Judea. Go to Samaria. Go to the uttermost parts of the earth. Preach the good news that the Messiah has come to bring you back into the kingdom of Israel, to rebuild and restore the tabernacle of David that has fallen, and you'll be builders of the breach. You'll build the kingdom. I'll show you how to build the tabernacle of David and the nation of Israel, but I won't tell you when it'll be fulfilled, when the building process will be complete. They said, Master, it's nice that you're going to heaven, but what about the 12 tribes, the exiles coming home? If you're the Messiah, according to our understanding, you've got to bring Joseph home. You've got to bring non-Jewish Israel back home to Judah so they can be one. He said, okay, wise guys, I'll tell you how to do it. So the essence of the preaching of the gospel is not to win souls. That's good to win souls. It's wise. The word says he that wins souls is wise. But the preaching of the good news is for the individual to be saved and redeemed and restored to the corporate nation of his fathers. So that salvation is 2 sides of the same coin. It is individual that leads to a corporate restoration of the entity, the body, and the physical nation of Israel. This is not spiritual Israel here, brothers and sisters. This is the physical nation of Israel come back after wandering the ways of the nations. Don't tell me the Talmidim didn't know the 2 houses. They couldn't agree on anything, but they had the same thing on their mind. If you're the Messiah, where are you going, man? Where are you going? Well, when are you going to restore the kingdom to the church? No, he didn't say. He said to Israel. If you're the Messiah of Israel, you've got to restore the kingdom to Israel. Yeshua said, now slow down. It's in the Father's hands, but I'll tell you how. So next time you win a soul to Yeshua, what a revelation. You're not just winning a soul to eternal life. You are rebuilding the nation that has fallen. Israel's being rebuilt through you. Israel can be rebuilt through you. Yahweh desires for Israel to be rebuilt through you. Acts 1:6. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. And we close with this because it's just too deep. It's just too deep. I haven't even touched on the things that the Father wants us to know. He hasn't even touched on it. Bereshit 2. Bereshit 2, at the end of verse 14, which we just read. No, I gave you a reference, Acts 1:6. That was a reference. Bereshit 2:14. Back to Bereshit 2:14. The 3rd river is the Tigris, the river of disunity and division. And aren't the sons of Adam completely divided? Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, all the isms, Buddhism, Confucianism. There's so many isms. Who's up, who's down, who's on first? Right? So that when the true message comes along, the message of the rebuilt tabernacle of David, that Yeshua is rebuilding and restoring the nation of Israel, we're scratching our head and going, this is too good to be true. Do you mean I'm physically an Israelite? This is too good to be true because we've gotten so many messages from the Tigris River. The Tigris River is the one that Satan sent to take away your forefathers and confuse them with religion. And you hear the truth. You're an Israelite. Really? You're an Israelite. Yahweh promised the same way you went into the nations, he'll bring you back from the nations through the Messiah, through his son. Now you have the revelation that you're not just a spiritual Israelite through the new birth, you're a physical Israelite. Really? Can you prove it? I got 66 books to prove it. How many do you want me to use? Agua fría, por favor. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Gracias. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Okay, now look at number 4. Bereshit 2:14. The fourth river is the river Euphrates. Euphrates comes from the Hebrew word, Strong's 6578, meaning, listen, to expand, break out, rush. Sounds like the definition for river, doesn't it? Nahar, right? Euphrates sounds like the same definition as river. Remember what the definition for river is? Nahar. Sounds like the same thing. Thank you. But it's not. 6578 Hebrews is Perat, Euphrates, Parat, which is related to Strong 6567, which is Parash, meaning to expand. But that still doesn't say it. 6576 is related to Strong 6574, which is Parshadan. Look it up when you get home. Strong 6574, Parshadan. 6578 related to 6567, related to 6574. The Hebrew word, we get Euphrates from the Hebrew word Parshadan. We close with this. All right? Watch this.
First close.
Watch this.
78,
The word Parshadan,
78, 67, 76.
and I apologize if these words offend anybody. It's not my purpose, especially you ladies who get easily offended. That's not my purpose to offend you, so please bear with me. And if you really get offended, don't say anything to me, just send me an email. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Because I can delete the email, it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? Parshadan, listen to this, literally means the garbage or the drought, or the excrement, also known as dung. Dung or uncleanness coming from the crotch. Go home, you'll see, I'm not making this stuff up. Father, help me.
Do it. Go ahead,
I want to get out of this. Hebrews 65:74 literally means that which emanates from the crotch, or the rear end, or the unclean parts of the human anatomy. Are you with me?
Yes.
What Yahweh is showing us is that this last spirit is of the river Euphrates that Satan used in the Garden of Eden and is going to use again in the Great Tribulation, is to pollute the world with uncleanliness and things that are not tam, but that are not tahor, pure, but that are tam. Are you with me? It's a spirit of uncleanness.
Oh, he's sick.
All the things that the Torah calls unclean.
He's so sick.
Human excrement, human bodily fluids, seminal fluids. All the things that the Torah calls unclean,
Yes.
that's the spirit of sexual perversion, of sexual lust, and sexual appetite. And all those things, that's the spirit of the river Euphrates. All the things that come from the less pleasant parts of the human anatomy. That the Torah calls tam. And in this uncleanness, we know there's lawlessness.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Right.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Now, what we have to understand, we have to try to understand is the entire world lies in this spirit of uncleanness. What's another way to say spirit of uncleanness? Say it again, Shamish. Are you with me? Lawlessness. What's an English way to say lawlessness? A better way to say lawlessness. Anti-Torah.
Anti-Torah, yes.
You cannot know what is clean and unclean without the Torah. So that this Yahweh says, Adam and Eve, you can eat from all the trees except the knowledge of good and evil, because the evil is the unclean mixed in with the clean.
Yes.
That's the danger and the trap of religion. It has a lot of good fruit on there,
Right.
the tree of life,
Mix.
Yeah.
but it's a mixture of the knowledge of good and evil. And the fruit of evil is symbolic of things that are unclean. And so we have a lot of people in the world and in religious systems who worship Yahweh, who call on Yahweh, who think they've heard about Yahweh, amen, when they really heard about God and not Yahweh. And they're practicing a form of godliness, of set-apartness, denying the power thereof. And the word of Yahweh says, from such turn away. Well, what is the power? The power is set-apartness, cleanliness, holiness, righteousness. Listen, if you're going to teach that the Torah has been nailed to the tree, you have no idea of what's clean. I'll give you a perfect example, second clothes. I'll give you a perfect example of what the world and the religious community knows nothing about. Turn with me, please. Here's it. You want to see the spirit of the Euphrates? The spirit of uncleanliness, lawlessness? The spirit of Parshadon. Parshadon. Turn with me to 1 Timothy. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Is anyone enjoying?
Yes.
Let's try that again. Is anyone enjoying now?
Yes.
Whoa. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
It's been in my Bible all these years, and now it's coming to light in the last days. 4 rivers coming from Gan Eden.
Father, Yahweh.
First Timothy 4.
Yahweh. Thank you.
And this may seem harsh to someone, but it's not. It's truth. You ready? Here, you want to see the river Euphrates flowing through the organizations that you and I used to belong to, that you and I have come out of? You want to see the spirit of the river Euphrates? Calling that which is unclean, clean. Calling that which is unkosher, kosher. Calling that which is really impure, pure. Not just food, practices. Worship practices.
Right.
1 Timothy 4:4. Because every creature of Elohim, speaking of food, is good, none to be rejected, if it is received with thanksgiving. Stop, look at me. So you and I have been taught, hey brother, don't matter if it's ham, pig, lobster, shellfish, owls, whatever you pray over, just make sure you thank God for it and pray over your food. Say grace.
Yes. That's what they say.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Don't be honest. Don't lie.
They say,
That's
yes,
the spirit of the river Euphrates.
That's what they say.
That's Parshadon. It comes out of the you-know-what.
Wow.
Another way to say it, it's crotchy theology.
Right. Duro to you.
Remember what Parshadon meant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those parts of the human body that give forth unpleasant excrement. And where did the river Euphrates eventually wind up? As it flowed.
Where did it flow?
The Tigris went through where? Assyria. Division. The Euphrates went right into what became known as the land of Babel. Where do all these practices, those religious practices that are not clean come from today? Babel. The Euphrates went right into Babel, Babylonia. So we used to go to those systems that used to say, listen, brother, just don't get into that Jewish legalism. Don't let that fat rabbi lie. Don't let him tell you all that Jewish stuff, man.
Did you hear what I say when they say that?
Because the word of God says, if you pray over the food, it magically becomes delicious. It could be an owl, it could be a lobster, it could be a pig, it could be an ox, it doesn't matter. It could be a coney, it could be a rabbit, it doesn't matter.
Be a rat.
Did you pray to the Lord and give thanks for the food? Listen, in the Hebrew culture, we don't drink from the spirit of Euphrates coming out of the garden, because we know who was the first resident of the garden.
S period, A period time.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. We don't drink of that spirit. See, that spirit says, let's pray. Let's be honest, I'm talking one-on-one like the Joan Rivers show.
Yes.
You go to a restaurant, you want to look cool, especially if the pastor and the elders are there. Let's say grace. Let's pray. Father in heaven. Right? You don't want to eat. You don't eat without praying.